The Walking Dead is packed with dark, heavy-hitting and thought-provoking episodes, but one that sticks out arguably above all of them is Season 4, Episode 14, titled The Grove. Some argue it's far too dark for television, whilst others say it's a modern-day work of art. So today I thought we'd delve into the episode that is The Grove and unravel the brilliance of one of the darkest episodes in television history.
Just look at the flowers, Lizzie.
The footage you're seeing right now is about the only bit of the entire episode that I can actually show you, because most of the scenes will get your video demonetized or even taken off YouTube. So I hope you enjoyed those 5 seconds of footage. Now let's get into why this episode is so disturbing, starting off with the plot. After the fall of the prison, our survivors are split up into smaller groups, and the Grove follows the group of Tyrese, Carol, Judith, Mika and Lizzie on their route to Terminus. We see Tyrese is still having nightmares about Karen and David's death from earlier on in the season, as Lizzie and Carol speak about Carol's daughter Sophia, exclaiming she didn't have a bad bone in her body, and this is the reason she's now dead. The next morning, the group continue along the tracks, where Tyrese tells Carol he's concerned about the two girls, as Mika is too gentle and Lizzie is confused about the walkers. However, they start to smell smoke from the building Daryl and Beth burned down a few episodes ago, so they veer off path, coming across a small, isolated cottage. Tyrese goes to kill a walker with a hammer, but Lizzie begs him to spare its life. And later, as Tyrese and Carol clear the house for any walkers, Lizzie starts to panic, worried they're actually going to find one and kill it. Mika tells her they aren't people, and suddenly a walker appears from the shed. Mika is forced to shoot the walker, killing it, and Lizzie cries, mourning the death of the creature, as Mika soothes her by telling her to look at the flowers. That night, the group sit in the cottage eating pecans, and Mika suggests that they make this their home. But the next morning, Carol sees Lizzie in the garden playing with a walker who she's named Griselda. Carol sprints out, killing the creature, but Lizzie screams at her, saying, "You killed my friend." Later that day, Carol takes Mika hunting and explains to her she's smart, and Lizzie is not right for treating the walkers as people, saying she's confused. The two come across a deer and Carol gives the gun to Mika to kill it, however she's unable to pull the trigger and the deer runs away. Tyrese explains to Carol that he's not ready to be around other people at the moment, and thinks they should all live in the house like Mika suggested, before hugging her and saying that he trusts her. A couple of hours later, Mika catches Lizzie feeding mice to a walker trapped in the train tracks, and Lizzie toys with the idea of letting the walker bite her to prove to the group that walkers are still people. However, a small herd emerges from the woods and the girls flee back to Carol and Tyrese, who proceed to kill them all. That night, Carol lectures Lizzie about the dangers of walkers, to which she says she knows what she has to do now, and the group head to bed. The next day, Carol and Tyrese leave to hunt the deer, but upon their return they find Lizzie standing over Mika's dead body with a bloodied knife in her hand. Judith lays blissfully unaware of her danger just meters away, and Carol marches over with tears streaming down her face, gun in hand, but Lizzie screams at her not to hurt her brain and begs her to wait for them to turn, holding up a gun to Carol. Eventually, Carol gives in and tells Lizzie that she will wait for Mika to turn. They then learn Lizzie was the one in the prison mutilating the rabbits and feeding mice to the walkers, and Tyrese suggests to Carol that maybe Lizzie was the one that killed Karen and David, to which Carol replies, "It wasn't her." Tyrese then suggests they leave Lizzie at the house, and the two of them sneak away with Judith, but Carol only sees one option here, exclaiming she can't be around other people. Carol then proceeds to take Lizzie out, and sensing Carol's mood, Lizzie sobs, begging Carol not to be mad at her. To calm her down, Carol tells her to look at the flowers, just as Mika did at the beginning of the episode, before shooting her in the head. Without a word, Tyrese and Carol dig a grave for the girls, and the pair later agree to leave the house the next morning. That night, whilst doing a puzzle, Carol gives Tyrese her revolver, and she finally admits to killing Karen and David at the prison, and explains it was a painless death, but it was all an attempt to try and stop the flu outbreak. She also says to Tyrese, "Do what you want to do." Tyrese grips the gun tightly, trying to contain his rage, before saying, "I forgive you, but I'm never going to forget, and it's part of you now." The next day, Tyrese, Carol and Judith leave for Terminus, and the episode ends.
I forgive you.
The Grove is such an effective episode of television as it demonstrates to us firsthand the horrors of the apocalypse, and it delves deep into the psychological trauma that a situation like this would have on many children. Growing up in the apocalypse would desensitize kids to all sorts of things, and would do irreversible damage to their young and impressionable brains. Lizzie's warped understanding of life, death and walkers is absolutely heartbreaking and disturbing, and it forces Carol to face a terrifying question of what to do with her. She's dangerous to other living people, but she's only a kid. There's no system, no institution to help her, she's alone, and it's one of the toughest moments from a moral standpoint in the entire show. And although The Grove is one of the most shocking episodes ever, I mean, we see the death of 2 kids, a woman admit to a double murder, and the near death of a literal baby. It doesn't get much darker than this, but it's so much more than just a shocking episode. It delves into themes of grief, madness, and what survival in a world like this could really be like. Carol doesn't just kill Lizzie because she's dangerous. She does it because she knows Lizzie will never be able to live in this world. It's mercy, it's horror and tragedy all in one, and it sticks with you forever. I'm currently rewatching the show with my dad, and he'd never seen the episode The Grove before, and watching his reaction to this episode reminded me of just what a work of art this episode really is. In fact, I was jealous that I too couldn't watch it for the first time just like him. You'll never forget The Grove, as it's one of the most haunting episodes of television ever made. And if The Walking Dead had an emotional Mount Rushmore, The Grove would be front and centre. Now, in my recent video, I ranked the worst characters in every season of the show, and I was shocked to see so many people say Lizzie for season 4, because I in fact think she's an integral part of progressing our character's narrative and demonstrating the shift in tone for season 4. She represents the loss of that childhood innocence and symbolises how the apocalypse has broken her down and destroyed her sense of reality. Most characters deal with external threats, walkers, hostile survivors and starvation, whilst Lizzie represents the internal threat. What happens when the mind breaks down under stress, isolation and trauma? She is living proof that some people just can't mentally adapt to this new world, and those people can become just as dangerous as any walker or villain. And Lizzie's storyline raises major ethical questions about morality, mercy and survival. She has such a massive impact in the show, even if she does only appear in a handful of episodes, and she impacts no one more than the character of Carol. The fact Carol doesn't shy away from killing Lizzie shows us all how she's morphed into someone who can bear the moral weight of the impossible choices the apocalypse forces on people, and she takes this burden off Tyrese by choosing to kill Lizzie herself, despite the impact it may have on her mentally. And when Carol later confesses to killing Karen and David, although Tyrese is absolutely crushed, Lizzie's death reframes everything for him, and he sees Carol as not a heartless monster, but a woman prepared to make horrific choices so others don't have to. She carries those burdens, and ultimately that's what helps Tyrese forgive her. And it's the fact that Lizzie's death was so personal and parental, it changes Carol forever. Even though after reuniting with the group, Rick does forgive her, she never fully forgives herself for what she's done. She can feel it in every single action she takes after that. She starts to withdraw emotionally from others, especially children, and she becomes colder, quieter and more guarded. And Lizzie's death is a pivotal moment for Carol's character development, as she starts to fully embrace the code of this new world, marking an end to the quote-unquote old Carol. And it's not just the death of Lizzie, but also the death of Carol in a sense. Her innocence is shattered at the fact she was forced to kill a child, after promising Lizzie's father she'd look after her. It becomes the moment she fully accepts that survival in this world isn't about how good or bad you are. It's about who can live with the decisions they make. And The Grove as an episode opens Carol's eyes to that. In conclusion, The Grove is a dark and deeply disturbing episode of television, but its goal isn't just to shock the audience. Everything that unfolds over the 41-minute runtime is meticulously put together. It's about a group of characters who are all in very different places mentally. Carol, who's pretty much adapted and hardened to this new way of living, Tyrese, who is very much struggling with this new regime and can't bear the thought of killing anyone anymore, and Lizzie, a child so confused by this chaotic world that she ends up taking her own sister's life. And in many ways, it's the perfect demonstration of what made The Walking Dead so special. It didn't have these giant set pieces or massive action scenes, it's just a small group of characters in a remote farmhouse, but the stakes still feel massive. It's an episode that strips the story down to its emotional core, where survival isn't about killing walkers, it's about making the impossible moral choices that this world throws at you. And as a whole, the character-driven storylines as our group split up after the prison demonstrate this perfectly. Daryl and Beth, Carl and Michonne, and of course Tyrese, Carol, Lizzie, Mika and Judith show us that what makes this TV show so special are the relationships between the characters. The Grove ultimately is one of the most disturbing TV episodes I've ever seen, but it's also one of my favourite, and the more times I rewatch it, it just gets better and better. But I would love to hear what you guys think about the episode down below in the comments, and I would also like to say a massive thank you to all of you for 10,000 subscribers. That is a crazy milestone that I never thought I'd reach, but here we are. If you enjoyed today's video, please do like and subscribe, and as always, I'll see you next time. Goodbye.